What is up, Shadowverse soldiers? Before we get into the video, I wanted to let you guys know that I am now doing webcam locals. We're going to be hosting it on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you're in the Shadowverse community Discord, and everyone is welcome. So the link is in the description. I will hope to see you guys on Thursday. What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. So, last time we did Abysscraft, now we're on Dragoncraft reveals for the Uma Pretty Derby set. So, when Uber Derby comes out, Shenlong is going to be 100% limited to 1, and yes, our Dragon Hearts are hurt, but at the same time, I believe if we look at these cards, we will definitely see that with Shenlong being in place and these future cards coming out, I feel like dragons would be dominating the meta, and it would just not be very healthy because dragons would be very, very strong. So, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first card we have is Bamboo Memory. So you feed her 1, and this follower begins racing, and then on Fanfare, when she comes into play, you discard a card and then deal 2 damage to each enemy leader. I like this card. I feel like this card is going to be a staple in Dragons now, because every time you see discard on a single dragon card, it's like, alright, well, you know, if Dragomancer's Rights is out, I'm taking 2. Now this card, you're tapping 2, and then your opponent's going to take 4. They have no response in terms of getting rid of the Dragomancer's Rights in between actions. So that's pretty good. Up next, we have Grass Wonder, and then you can feed her 1, and she begins racing. You deal 2 damage to each enemy follower on the field. So this is kind of like a budget golem. Like, it's a really budget golem. So I mean, I can see you know Dragon's gonna be a turn ahead, especially if they ramp and everything, and then spending 5 to deal 2. I mean, you also get a 5/5 that can gain rush too. That's nice, but I don't know if this will definitely be worth as a 5-drop. I don't think it's gonna replace Shenlong because Shenlong was just too good. But I really don't know how to feel about this card. Deal 2 damage and everything. I guess it's a bronze card for a reason. Next up, we have Hishi Akibono. So, feed her 1, she'll start racing, and you give your leader +10 when she comes into play. So you can spend 10 play points and gain 10 play points. It almost feels like Haven in Dragons. And Dragons is gonna get to turn 10, so realistically, if they're on like a huge crazy curve turn, I've never really seen the point of healing when you're already like past 25. You should really set up for like defense or something like that. If you're past 20, just worry about defense and swing face. You can take a couple bits of damage, but spending 10 to just heal 10 is absolutely ridiculous, and I can definitely see Dragons doing this. And it's pretty nice that it comes to the body being 10/10 as well, so your opponent will definitely have to have like the hard removal in terms of that late game. Alright, we have Oguri Cat. So you feed her once, and you can feed her twice, and then you can feed her 3 times. And each time this follower begins racing, give it +2/+1 for a total of 10/7. And then she has a strike ability to deal 3 damage to each enemy follower on the field. And then when she comes into play, you discard 2 cards, and you can give her Storm. So it looks like a lot of these Dragoncraft cards are going to be dealing like a whole lot to the field. Because the last card we looked at, it did 5 damage to the field. Now this one, when it swings, it deals 3 to the entire field. So it looks like we're going to be having like a whole board wipe effect, which I'm not liking because Dragons already has like tons of board wipe like attached to it with, Fenrir, and then, Bahamut if they can rock it. So having lots of board wipe, I mean, it's definitely going to take down the short index that or just quick and want to get it over with, end within the first 5 turns. But when you're dropping bombs like this, well, along with removal spells, that's pretty good. You're going to be controlling the entire field. Next up, we have Passion and Championer. At the start of your main phase, select an enemy follower on the field or an enemy leader and deal it 4 damage. And when it comes into play, if there are any other Usamuni cards in your field, select the enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage. So this looks like it's going to be a 7-drop Dragomancer's Rights just without any sort of like discard attached to it at the start of your main phase. So if you get to turn 7, you drop this, it comes back to your turn. You're going to be pinging something either their leader or a follower for. And that's pretty good. And then the Fanfare to, deal 4 damage to something. It's pretty alright, but for 7, you know, having that rotational burn, you know, against like maybe Haven is actually pretty nice, you know, that rotational burn. But around turn 7 and 8, if you're not making things shake, you know, especially in like the Statute Seraph line, then you're in some big trouble. But, you know, some more burn attached to this card is actually pretty good. So this is like a pretty niche like one-of card. Next up, we have Suin Sky. So you feed her once, and then she'll start racing. She also has Storm, and she has Intimidate. And then when she swings, give this follower +1 attack. So this is actually pretty good, especially, you know, if she swings, well, not swinging into a body, but having it Storm, and then being able to swing for 2. And then if it stays, you know, it's going to be gathering up that attack. So it'll eventually be, you know, a 3/3. And if you can manage to tech some really nice things in, like, I don't know, maybe like some sort of Gabriel combo where it's already high and then you can swing for lethal. Like, I don't know, that sounds pretty good. And we have our main character special week. Of course, it's in the Dragoncraft. So you evolve her for 1, and then you can feed her and she'll start racing. And in Fin Fairy, look at the top card of your deck. If it's an Usumune follower, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Now that's what we love, a main character that sticks to its archetype, because man, if it looked for a Dragoncraft follower or something like that, you know, just revealing it off the like top 2 or 3, that would be absolutely ridiculous. So this is actually pretty good. I love it. It looks very good, and I believe it has an alt art. I'm not sure, but I believe it has an alt art. Next up, we have Special Week Evolved. So on Evolve, if Overflow is active for you, give each other Usumune follower on your field +1/+1. So this is actually a pretty good bomb. So you can reveal the Usumune follower on the first special week, and then, you know, on turn 7 you can sit on it. Well, obviously not turn 2 because it's definitely getting removed. But, you know, if it sticks past turn 6, and then you're able to evolve and then give everything +1/+1, that on top of the fact that these followers have Storm, you can swing very, very big with this card alone. So that's pretty amazing. Next up, we have Super Krieg. So you can feed her 1, she'll start racing, she has Ward, and then when she comes into play, you give your leader +5 defense. Alright, so I personally think that this is the card that is going to replace Shenlong. Yes, it doesn't draw, yes, it doesn't filter, but man, she is Ward and she gives you +5 defense. And if you're dragons, who cares if you have to play a return later? I mean, you just don't need to evolve. You don't need to evolve. This is what you were doing with Shenlong, just minus the, you know, the draw aspect. So I feel like this card is going to replace Shenlong. Now, do I think this card is going to be a 3-of? I don't think so. But as long as Shenlong is limited to 1, I feel like this is really the card that was going to make the deck very broken with Shenlong. And then, you know, hey, you got past my Shenlong, alright, I'm going to drop Super Krieg. That's 10 health if you didn't get past my 2 wards. So I feel like that combo would have been absolutely ridiculous. Alright, next up we have Supporting You. So you select the Usumune follower on your field, you have a +1 and draw a card. If the selected follower was a Suin Sky, give it an additional +1/+1. Alright, so this card on top of the Special Week Evo, on top of Suin Sky swing already, I feel like this is going to be a nasty combo to swing for 5 Storm. And you can do it as soon as turn 4, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly. Well, no, 5, turn 5. But, you know, you have to have all the pieces together and make sure everything survives. But having Suin Sky swinging for that extra 2 attack matters, especially when she's a Storm. That's absolutely good. Alright, we have Tamamo Cross. So you feed her once, she'll start racing. When this follower begins racing, give it +1/+1, then select up to 1 enemy follower on the field and deal it 2 damage. So a 2-drop that can deal 2 damage, I like that. And then on the fact that she turned into a 3/2. So the 3/2, that's a Bizcraft aggro number. So I don't know if we're going to be flooding the field with her, but it's the whole racing mechanic feels different, and we're definitely gonna have to adjust because, you know, the evo points and then, you know, actually using the play points to feed and converting those spots into our evo deck into card carrots is probably gonna be getting used to too. But a 3-drop that does 2 damage, that's not too bad, and turns into a 3/2. I like it. And then we have Yano Matuki. So you feed her once, she'll start racing. When this follower begins racing, give a +1/+1, then select another follower on your field and give a +1/+1. So look at that, more buff. So this on top of special beak, on top of supporting you, I feel like there's going to be a huge line where it's like, hey, I have my followers on the field, but I'm going to surprise you with this bomb of Swing Sky. I don't know if that's how it is in the anime. I don't know if Swing Sky is that fast, you know. But this playstyle looks like it's going to be buffing up your buddies along with, you know, dealing a whole bunch of damage to the entire field with their bigger bombs. So that feels pretty good. And the Swing Sky, I feel like that Swing Sky combo might actually be pretty good. I don't know if the meta changes too much from, you know, Uma Derby coming out. I think we have one regional where we have Uma Derby. I'm not sure. I need to keep in, you know, I need to keep up with that. I'm sorry, guys. But, you know, this was our last card. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys listening and sitting here with me. You guys don't know how much it means to me for you guys to just work with me and grow the community and help out. But make sure you guys are safe in doing whatever you do tonight, and make sure you're safe doing whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.